Hey guys, let's talk about burnout, particularly burnout in business, burnout in entrepreneurship. Let's face it, when we start a new business, we get super excited, we get super passionate, we read all these books, all these guides that tell us to work hard, to eliminate distractions, focus all our energy, and that's great and all, but sometimes we go too far. Sometimes we go to the extreme of eliminating certain activities that fuel us, that drive us, that fill us with energy. Sometimes it happens to us as CEOs, as leaders, as founders, but oftentimes it also happens we cause that in our staff. Many times we lead with so much passion that we end up burning out our staff. So we have to find a way to reach our goals and not burn out and be more productive every hour. There's this myth, there's this terrible idea that by working more hours, you're going to be more productive. I'm a big fan of Elon Musk, but one of the things he talks a lot about is, well, if you double the amount of hours you work, you're going to get there twice as fast. The equation is not that simple. The reality is, sometimes if we have more mental clarity, if we have our internal battery at a better state, we can do more in fewer hours. But if we try to force ourselves to work more hours, and trust me, I've been there. In my previous business, I tried to sleep only 2 to 4 hours and work like 20, 22 hours a day, and I succeeded. But those hours were not the most productive. I thought I was being productive. I thought I was being a great leader, leading by example. I always wanted to be a leader that led by example, that showed them that I was willing to put in the hard work. But what I really showed them is how to burn out. And when I took responsibility and when I became aware of this burnout effect that I was experiencing, I very hesitantly started allowing myself to do a lot of things that I felt were a distraction. I thought video games were a distraction. I thought dating was a distraction. I thought parties were a distraction. And they can be. If you find yourself spending 3 weeks watching Netflix, playing video games, going to parties every night, basically doing a bunch of stuff to avoid something, if you're doing it as an escape, then there's a problem. That means there's something in your life or your business that's draining you, that's burning you out so much that you have to escape. That's not what we're talking about here. What we're talking about is simply allowing yourself to recharge your battery efficiently, allowing yourself the activities that fill you with energy to get back to work with increased mental clarity. I know when I'm in front of the computer and I lack inspiration or I just lack mental clarity. If I allow myself to go play video games or watch TV or go out or do something to disconnect myself from work, when I get back to work, I'm much more productive. In much less time, I do more. And we have to understand that this applies to everyone in your company, everyone in your project, in your startup. We have to be careful not to drain people. We have to be careful not to burn out our staff by leading in a way that's not really leading, but rather imposing our ways. When I started my first business, I imposed my way of doing things. And while that worked for some people that had similar personalities to me, it didn't work for people who had contrasting personalities. And that's why it's very important to take into consideration personality theory, personality psychology. When you have a company, when you have a startup, when you have a business, you have to take into consideration the unique needs of everyone in the company. Introverts are going to need more structure, more order. They need to have a bit more routine. They need to have less stress, less intensity, less chaos, less social stimulus, more privacy. Extroverts, they need more social stimulus. They need more movement. They need to be able to go out, move. They can't sit still all day because that's not going to be productive. They need to be allowed to disconnect. In Develop Development, we talk about all kinds of ways of recharging our internal batteries. We call it regenerative spaces, and we have many great videos and tips on that. But to simplify it, extroverts need more change, more social stimulus, more movement. Introverts need less social stimulus, less movement, more predictability, more structure, more routine. Sure, we're all a mix of all the different personalities. Sometimes we need some on one side and some on the other. We just have to, as leaders, to have the flexibility to give our staff the stimulus they need to recharge the batteries to be productive. I've seen very clearly now with this latest company of mine how respecting and honoring and exploring the needs of everyone in the company, the productivity improves, the conflicts reduce. It's a great way of resolving conflicts. Recharging the batteries of your staff leads to much less conflict and much more efficiency. So I implore you to explore in your company, in your life, what mistakes have you made in terms of trying to do things in a way that don't work for you? Are you trying to be the next Steve Jobs? Are you trying to be the next Bill Gates? Are you trying to be the next Elon Musk? If you're still stuck in that stage of entrepreneurship, which we've all been there, let's face it, I recommend you get out of it as soon as possible because it's not sustainable. And it's not cool. You're not going to be successful trying to copy someone else. You can learn from everyone, but find what works for you. The people who have had most success in this world have found success because they're unique, they're original, they have something original to offer. Find what it is you have to offer, and also find the way that works for you in terms of how you structure your business. Reflect on your staff. How many times have you imposed your way of doing things on your staff and ended up burning out your staff or causing fights and drama by being almost authoritarian and saying, if I can do it, you can do it? Bullshit. Just because you can do it doesn't mean that they can do it. They can probably do some things that you can't. And that's the beautiful thing about diversity and why you want a team with many different types of personalities. So build your teams where you honor differences, explore differences, stimulate differences, and that way everything will flow. Things will not be forced. That's it for today. If you have questions, please put them in the comments below. And if you want to recharge my internal battery, help me avoid burnout, make sure to check out my social media and subscribe and like and comment and interact with all my socials. Here they are. That's it for now. Have a good one.